be now requesting the GFL media persons to come up and take the stage. Uh, Sohan, Risha, please come forward.
Thank you, Chief Election Commissioner. With your
Thank you for that,
permission,
Chief
we
Election
would be,
Commissioner.
with the permission, we would be further having the press conference with the presidential candidates.
So
So-
Sohan, will you
Please
be
go ahead.
starting, right?
Yeah. First question for Sweksha Mishra. As we have already said, it's a common question. How do you adhere to this PDF pillar? That is pacifism, democracy, and federalism.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So how do I adhere, or I as a member and a running presidential candidate for the Global Federal League, adhere to pacifism, democracy, and federalism? Number one, by putting all the values and all the dreams which I share later on in the Global Federal League, all the values and all the decisions shall be guided by these very fundamental forces, which is run in the Global Federal League. And secondly, it is in the heart, it is in the soul of the league that we share these ideas, and these are really effective. And in that way, I'll say that we will adhere to these ideas.
Okay, thank you for this answer, Sweksha. The next question would be, how will you draw up a layout of collaboration? That is, you are the in charge of collaboration and public outreach of interim committee of GFL. So how do you draw up a layout of collaboration?
Okay, so let's break it down into two parts. Like right now, as in an interim working committee, we could not really form many collaborations because we had to prepare the charter and all the formal documents before we have any sort of collaborations with any sort of league and organizations. And secondly, after this presidential elections, of course, as our charter is also almost ready, we will be looking forward for collaborations, and we will make it formal one, as with the Young World Federalists and one more which is coming, the Democratia organization. And what I believe is we will hand out, a brochure in order to get collaborations, as in many formal organization does. So in that way, we'll be sending out the brochures, and we'll be really looking forward for all the collaborations we get. Also, I will make sure that the collaborations department have really good sort of people who are really convincing at the first place, so that the collaborations are really successful and smooth. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Sweksha. The next question is, what is idea or ideology do you like to implement for the amelioration of the GFL apart from the existing ideas?
I'm sorry, your voice is a bit low. I couldn't hear.
Yeah, I will come again. What idea or ideology do you like to implement for the amelioration of GFL apart from the existing ideas?
Okay, so first of all, we have these ideas as the very fundamental base of our league, Global Federal League, which is pacifism, democracy, and federalism. These shall be the building blocks, or the building ideas of our league. So I wouldn't be changing any such, but to add on to these things, I really look forward that these ideas actually come into myriad spectrums, I'll say. Let's say in the humanitarian area, let's say in the sustainable development goals which are there. So if these ideas can add up to these things, then we can also achieve way more than what we are currently working for. And very naturally, it won't be in the initial phase of our league, but later on when we expand and we really become consolidated at the base, we will really be looking forward to implement these things so that we can help in more cause and in more ways than one.
Thank you, Sweksha. You're done. Next, our questions are for Kaushiki.
I'm so sorry. Before you start questioning, please escalate your voice because I have
Yeah.
to go near the laptop and be like this.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Your first question is a common question. How do you adhere to this PDF pillar, that is pacifism, democracy, and federalism?
Yes, a very important question. Thank you for posing this. As we know, GFL has been constituting three ideologies: democracy, pacifism, and federalism. I do not have to repeat that. But as you see this, these all are political ideologies. And there's one more specter called epistemological ideologies, which are universal in nature. If we do not make things personal, adhere to things that are very personal, very beloved, we cannot bring change. So I would like to firstly associate these ideologies in a personal level, maybe associating these to the family institutions, talking to your mother, talking to your father, or maybe teaching these things to a very local community will actually escalate the level of propagation. So making this more personal and institutional will make it more relatable and very influential. I hope this answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer, Kaushiki. And one more thing is, this is a very basic question. Like, we didn't want it to go deep because you have mentioned a lot in your manifesto. How well can you work under pressure? Like, if any uncertain, pessimistic approaches which has steered upon your way in GFL, how well can you work under this pressure?
It's a very interesting question. Usually, I do not succumb to oppositions. I actually become cocky and try to implement my own regulations. But if anything happens, any managerial inconsistency happens, I believe their opinion is as important as mine. So, firstly, I will try to have a very important set of group that will focus on deliberations. So, expressing and propagating are something that will make it a more important factor of your personality to express yourself and neglect all of the oppositional factors or maybe polarizing options that are there. Secondly, I will try to consult experts. I do not preach to go to the lawyers or even legal consultants outside this forum and discuss the implications of our forum. To suggest this to an expert, I would like to take advices so that any managerial inconsistency or dubiancy in this organization can be par negligence. I hope it answers your question.
Thank you, Kaushiki. Your next question is, how will you cope with your strengths and weaknesses?
Very funny. First thing that I will try to do is talking about federalism. We have been associating this organization to federalism, which as its own definition says parity between the two levels. So as an individual practicing federalism as a personal thing, I will try to bring parity to both strength and weaknesses. I do not intend to bring out all of the weaknesses and try to demean the organization. I will try that those weaknesses can be one more important sector in my personality which can be improved rather than annulled in the strengths of my personality. I hope this answers your question.
Thank you. Thank you, Kaushiki. You're done. Our next question is for Omkar. The first
Hello, am I
question is a
audible?
common question. Yeah, you are.
Thank you.
The first question is the common question. How do you adhere to this PDF pillar, that is pacifism, democracy, and federalism?
So, just as my colleagues earlier stated, so our organization adheres to three principles: pacifism, democracy, and federalism. And as a member of the organization, this is something which I must also inculcate in my personality. So, coming to democracy first, as a candidate in the elections, I believe I'm upholding democracy. I'm putting forward my opinions. I'm respecting the mandate of the voters. I'll be respecting that, and I'm taking a responsibility of expressing myself. So that I believe is adhering to democracy from my end. Coming to pacifism, I've always condemned violence. I never speak in support of violence, and I believe that we can have diplomatic solutions to all our problems. So that is how I adhere to pacifism in my personal life. Coming to federalism, at a local level, it's more about sharing of power. It's more about temperament towards what others say, entitling everybody to the same respect and same dignity, if you consider it at a familial level. So I've always, in my opinion, stayed polite to people whom I know. I've never considered myself authoritative to take a decision which I'm not supposed to, or I've never imposed myself on others. So that is how I believe I've upheld federalism, and I believe I would be doing that. I will be remaining a passionate pacifist, democrat, and federalist throughout my life. And I hope that answers your question.
Thank you for your answer, Omkar. The next question would be, how will you co-share the GFL as you are the founder and interim secretary general of GFL?
So, pardon me, could you please repeat?
Yeah, how will you co-share the GFL as you are the founder and interim secretary general of GFL?
Will I
You want me to be
co-share?
more precise?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
co-share. Yeah. How are you going to help GFL for its certificate of incorporation? Basically, this question is on that.
Okay, so that is something that is a very interesting question, I must say. As a founder, I came up with an idea. I got inspired from certain sources, and like I put forward this proposal. And I must say, from all the members, I've received equal support to bring the organization to this level. So it's not just me who is in a technical sense the founder of the GFL. It's all of us. All of us who are currently working tirelessly for the GFL. Selflessly, we are setting our time aside. All the presidential candidates who have taken up this responsibility, the chief election commissioner and the media people. So this is something which all of us together we need to go ahead and do. So regarding the certificate of incorporation, we are always looking forward to a legal recognition. But in the current situation, firstly, we have a pandemic which is making all these proceedings difficult. Secondly, we need to have a lot of things ready. We need to have certain legal safeguards ready. We need to have certain lawyers with us, or maybe chartered accountants who will look into these things. So I'm looking into this. I'm exploring the aspects of this question, and let's hope that we will be achieving something in the longer run. Also, in my manifesto, I'll just like to add this up. In my manifesto, I've proposed an ad hoc committee where chaired by the president, where we'll be discussing the future of the organization. We'll be discussing on topics ranging from should we take donations to how exactly are we going to get a legal recognition. So let's hope that addresses the problem.
Thank you, Omkar. Your next question is, how do you manifest maneuverability during the time of turbulence in GFL?
Pardon me?
How do you manifest maneuverability during the time of turbulence?
Okay, so this is again another interesting question. We, the GFL, I'll say we are born to be turbulent. We are born to be prone to turbulence because the kind of work we are doing, we are going to get like what is the condemnation. We are going to get widespread trolls, and we are in a inhospitable environment. That is the basic truth. And what we are doing is we are doing it out of our own willpower. It's out of our own conviction. So the GFL is already maneuvering over a lot of turbulence. Currently, the situation of NGOs in our country, then the situation of other groups. I won't be taking any names, but the situation is inhospitable. But even then, we have ensured we have a camaraderie amongst all of us. All of us today, we have very passionately, we have come forward. We have taken this responsibility. We are going to cast votes. We are going to campaign. We are speaking ourselves out. We are supporting certain ideals. What more is required to maneuver over this turbulence? So I believe my responsibility is as a member, not as a presidential candidate or a founder or some other position. My responsibility is to ensure that this camaraderie stays in eternity. All of us, we stay friends forever, not just in the GFL, but beyond that, so that we can uphold the values of the organization. We can uphold democracy and world federalism at its best. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Omkar, again. Our next question would be for our Chief Election Commissioner, Smita. The question is, what are the measures taken by the CEC to to conduct free and fair election?
Okay, thank you for the question. First of all, the voting procedure as it's still not disclosed. So there are different ways which I first of all read through, right, which can be taken as a free and fair one. So first of all, the members who are present within the organization need to reveal or need to give a set of their information to us to make it liable that yes, the person is actually interested in voting. Second, which is done is polling. Previously, we were thinking about the Google form, short of what to say, election giving vote giving process, but now we took a much better one so that it is much more reliable and accessible to everyone, which doesn't have that much of technical buildings and all. So yep, that's how it's taken. At the end, the anonymity is very important while giving the vote. So that is which we have kept in mind. Me and my chief, what to say, the election committee is worked on that. So yeah, that's I hope it answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, Devosmita.
Thank you, Risha. So over here we come to an end towards our caucus and towards our question answer session of our from the GFL media persons. So thank you, Risha and Sohan, for coming forward towards this wonderful questions. Once again, thank you to all